Good afternoon all, welcome to this edition of Start the Week. This we call the Chinese New Year edition of Start the Week because as we know, come Thursday, most offices in the city will close for the rest of the week as well as for most of the offices that I know of for the whole of the next week, plus an extended holiday till maybe up to the early first week of March. Have you made your plans for Chinese New Year, Ringgit?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So most probably it will be a one long holiday binge for you.
Yeah.
As you know, the Chinese community for this is one week in the year when they are really serious about taking time off, and for most people who would have any commercial dealings with traders from the Chinese community, they would really have to be making advanced preparations to ensure that if they need things like mechanical help with their cars or motor vehicles, this is one week in which they would have to be doubly ready. For the past week, we had the death of Datuk Aziz Nikmat, the past Supreme Leader, and by all counts, most major news organizations covered the news and gave it its full due, save for one or two whose viewers have taken their news organizations to task for not marking the event, the demise of he is an opposition leader nationally, but locally in Kelantan, PAS is the state government. So some news organizations were taken to task for not paying full due respect to the passing, to the demise of a very respected individual, and for that reason quite a few comments were made on social media taking them to task. The demise of Nik Aziz brings to fore the incidence of prostate cancer, because over the weekend it was also announced that Singapore Premier Loong is also has taken 1 week off to attend to prostate cancer. So it appears that he will undergo surgery procedure in Singapore. Prostate cancer, Ringgit, it's something that we all live with, men in particular, as they age. It's something that is an ever-present concern. How much of this is a concern should it be a concern to all of us, Ringgit?
I think I was reading an article that says that men above 40 should get themselves checked for prostate cancer, so that if it's detected in the early stages, then the chances of it being treated is much higher.
The prognosis for Hsien is quite optimistic, because it appears that the chances of detecting prostate cancer early, getting it attended to medically through surgical removal. I don't know yet whether there is a need for chemotherapy at this stage, but Hsien has had a history of having undergone treatment for cancer, and whatever cancer he was suffering from is under remission. So this is, with the best medical care in the world, the prognosis is quite good, and he's also it's also that he'll be away for just 1 week. So I guess we all hope and pray that this is something that will resolve itself in due course. At home we have our own problems, which is quite enough to induce heart attack for grown men, in the shape of crisis that is in which MIC finds itself embroiled in. As you know, there is for the present president, he doesn't take too kindly to the challenge mounted on him by others to want to lead the MIC this time round. We were made to understand that the Prime Minister himself has been called on to become a mediator, but for Ringgit, how much is this trouble in the MIC now going to be a factor in the way the future of the Indian community is looked after?
Okay, I think for the moment now, Indian support for Barisan Nasional has been not very strong. Even in the past elections, MIC hardly won. I think, if I'm not mistaken, last count they won about 7 seats. They have 7 parliamentarians in parliament now. So given this internal conflict, it will only make the party weaker. But having said that, a lot of critics of Palanivel said that he's not a strong leader, unlike the incumbent Datuk Seri Samivelu, who wielded a strong hand in silencing his critics and uniting the party for a very long time. So I think the intervention of the Prime Minister is timely, and I think is much awaited on the outcome of a resolution that is acceptable to all parties in which are fighting in MIC.
I don't know how much of the fact that Palanivel used to be a reporter just like you and me. He was a very leading editor in Bernama. The troubles, the problems he's facing now in MIC, I hope is not a reflection of us as journalists. If we do make the transition from journalist to politician, you know how successful one can be. There have been instances of politicians, journalists making the transition from journalist to politician and making a name for themselves. So I guess for Palanivel, his fortunes need to turn for the better for the record of journalists turning into politician, for them to make so that we'll see better fortunes for him. On the economy, oil prices has drifted upwards. Is that a good sign, Ranjit?
Yes, because mainly the upward trend in oil prices of late is because American producers, especially the smaller shale gas producers in America, are out of business because of the high cost of production. So that means overall global oil production is declining. So this has caused prices to spiral upwards. On this morning's check on Bloomberg just now, prices are at about $61 a barrel. This is good for Malaysia because we depend on oil revenues. For 2014, 30% of government revenues came from oil, and for 2015 it is targeted that 22% of revenue will come from oil.
Even at $60 US per barrel, our budget was premised on the
55.
price on 55. Our budget was premised on the price of oil being 100 US.
Earlier, then the Prime Minister revised it to 55. So this is above the revision of 55.
So will there be a need for a revision of the revision of our budget?
I think because oil prices have been fluctuating of late, so I think, but given that oil prices have strengthened, the ringgit has also strengthened. So ringgit this morning was about at 356 to the US dollar. So this is a good sign that the economy, that the ringgit is strengthening, so that being an intermediary nation, we depend a lot on imports, and the more expensive ringgit would have hurt the manufacturers and in the country quite badly.
So if our fortunes as far as oil is concerned is taking a turn for the better, I understand that palm oil too, we are getting some positive news from palm oil.
Yes, we are. Palm oil prices have also been on the uptrend, commodities of general, but the government has announced that it's going to reintroduce export tax. As of today, they announced that 4.5% will be levied on palm oil exports. So this is going to provide extra revenue of about 12 to 15 billion per year to the government in terms of export tax on CPO.
Wasn't this move something that's natural, because in the past it was the Indonesian producers, there was this tax that applied to Indonesian palm oil,
yes,
and this was at the expense of Malaysia's own exporters. So wasn't this move a long time in coming?
Yes, it was expected, but because the government only reintroduced the tax because oil palm prices are strengthening, so it won't hurt the producers that much.
Okay, Ranjit, from oil to water. Over the weekend, I received news that those living in the Hulu Langat area would be suffering intermittent water cuts. Just imagine, sometime last year, there was all this talk about us running out of water, and then suddenly there was this huge, heavy downpour resulting in floods. And now, I think it's time for us to take stock because the rains have stopped, and I think we're in for a bout of high temperatures at the moment, because if you sleep at night nowadays, if the aircon is not working at full speed, at full blast, you'd be tossing and turning. So it appears that the Sungai Semenyih and Selangor water authorities are facing problems with pollution of all things. So there is not a problem of not enough water, but whatever water we have is being polluted. Shouldn't we by now have found a solution to, on the one hand, you have too little water, on the next you have an overflow, inundation of water, and now you have water, but water management. Have we not learned our lesson, Ranjit?
I think the management of water in the state has not been up to the standard that we consumers are supposed to get, and we hope that the takeover by Ayer Selangor of Shabas would be a sign of better things to come for the days ahead.
So Ranjit, I think for the next week, over the Chinese New Year holidays, I just hope the taps don't run dry, because then it will spoil Chinese New Year for you and for me, apart from our Chinese friends as well. That's the end of this edition of Start the Week. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, goodbye.